11 months into the invasion, the Biden administration in the US is scrambling to prevent Iran from supplying drones to Russia after witnessing the extent to which the Iranian Shahed 136 drones, also known as the lawnmowers or mopeds, wreaked havoc in the war-torn Ukraine. The war has shown how, with their precision strike capabilities, cheap drones, especially the ones like the Iranian-made Shahed 136, have democratized the modern battlefield. It is not as if drones have brought in precision strikes for the first time. Precision strike capability has always been the focus of the military, but it comes at a huge cost. For instance, precision-guided munitions accounted for 8% of the total munitions used by the US-led coalition forces against the Saddam Hussein regime in the First Gulf War, that is in 1991. But their share in the total cost incurred by munitions by the US-led coalition was approximately a whopping 84%. One of the mainstays of the precision strike missiles with the US military is the 1,300 kg Tomahawk subsonic cruise missile that cost about USD 2 million apiece at current prices. Washington-based think tank Carnegie Endowment for International Peace notes that though it is cheap, Iran's Shahed 136 drones retains important capabilities, including the ability to evade radar detection and to operate at a range of up to 1,500 miles. By comparison, Ukraine's US-supplied single-use Switchblade drones only operate in the range of 25 miles. The success of Iran's drone program in the face of heavy sanctions is a lesson for India's defense and security establishment, especially the DRDO, that is the Defense Research and Development Organization, which has been struggling with its unmanned aerial vehicle program for decades. India's Comptroller and Auditor General, that is the CAG, had in 2020 slammed the DRDO's UAV program for poor planning, keeping end users in dark, and flouting standard operating procedures. Treated as a pariah by the West, Iran claims to have drones with the ability to deliver precision-guided missiles in a whopping range of 2,000 kilometers, besides flight endurance of over 24 hours and even stealth capabilities. The US-based bipartisan nonprofit United Against Nuclear Iran notes that while Tehran's technological prowess is often exaggerated for propagandistic purposes, the success of its drone program represents a technological triumph for the Islamic Republic. Washington severed military and diplomatic relations with Tehran after the Iranian Revolution in 1979 led to the ouster of the US-backed Shah of Iran and subsequent foundation of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The Iranian drone program began in the 1980s, and it has advanced its military UAV program seeking to improve its fleet's intelligence, surveillance, and of course reconnaissance capabilities, and to field UAVs able to carry out airstrikes. Iran has unveiled numerous new drone systems just over the last decade, many of which have been used in combat, demonstrating Tehran's advancements in the UAV space. Tehran's focus on drones came about as it was looking for ways to monitor and harass ships in the Persian Gulf. In 1985, the Iranian military set up the Quds Aviation Industry Company as a wing of its self-sufficiency organization. Later that year, it tested its first UAV, Mohajer-1, which demonstrated its usefulness during the Iran-Iraq War that happened from 1980 to 1988. A predecessor to one of the drones Tehran is now supplying to Russia, the Mohajer-1 was crudely designed and came fitted with a single oblique camera on its nose. It is understood that this was a still camera and its film was developed only upon recovery. This drone was used in the later stages of the war to photograph Iraqi infantry positions in preparation for offensive anti-yield intelligence that would prevent Iranian troops from walking into ambushes. Tehran also reportedly attempted to outfit these drones with rocket-propelled grenade, that is the RPG launchers under each wing, but it is unclear whether its attempts ever bore fruit. Beginning in the 1990s, Iran developed several new variants of the Mohajer, the latest being the Mohajer-6. Every single variant boasted increased range and flight endurance, besides more precise strike capabilities. In the mid-2000s, Iran also shifted its focus on building attack drones and now has a full-fledged array of such UAVs. Karar, unveiled in 2010, was the first such attack drone. Iranian state media declared then that it had different capabilities, including carrying bombs to destroy targets, and could fly for a long range at high speed. 2 years later, in September 2012, Iran unveiled the Shahed 129, a significant step forward in Tehran's efforts to develop a strike-capable UAV. It is believed that the new drone was developed by reverse engineering an American RQ-170 UAV which flew over Iran to map the hundreds of tunnels dug by the Iranians to conceal elements of their nuclear program. Washington maintained that it was a malfunction that led to the landing of the drone in the Iranian desert, while Tehran claimed it hacked the drone and forced it to land. However, it is also believed that the Shahed 129 is largely based on the Israeli Hermes 450 model rather than the American one. This means that the Iranians could have also captured and reverse engineered an Israeli drone. Despite Tehran's persistent anti-West rhetoric, Western components are key to Iranian drone program. According to an analysis of 4 Iranian drones captured in Ukraine, over 70 manufacturers based in 13 different countries and territories, including the Western world and Asia, produce drone components for Tehran. Conducted by the UK-based investigative organization Conflict Armament Research, the analysis also shows that 82% of the components were manufactured in companies based in the United States. In December last year, the Biden administration launched an expansive task force to investigate how components made in the West, including American-made microelectronics, made their way into Iranian drones. A report by the New York Times suggests that the White House reached out to the American manufacturers after photographs began to circulate of the circuit boards of downed Iranian drones in Ukraine, visibly packed with chips manufactured by US-based firms in question. Almost all manufacturers had the same response. The chips are unrestricted, dual-use items, and tracking or stopping their circulation is almost next to impossible. Security sources abroad point out that Iran has mastered the art of operating under sanctions. For its drone and other military programs, Iran managed to get foreign components like engines from arms brokers or through friend companies that source the required components. While the success of the Iranian drone program does not come as a surprise for many in the Indian defense establishment and industry, sources say its success demands deeper introspection by New Delhi. Explaining how Iran's focus has always centered on simple designs and simple engines, one source tells ThePrint that India does not want to keep it simple. There's a huge disconnect between the DRDO and the end user in our country, the armed forces. The end user is not able to decide what it actually wants in real-life scenario, and the DRDO ends up promising the moon and failing to deliver. Pointing out that Iranian drones come equipped with baseline counter GPS jamming systems, which are able to counter jamming to a certain extent. A second source says that there are about 10 drone programs that the Indian armed forces are inducting, and none of them has a requirement to operate in a GPS-denied atmosphere. On why the Iranian drones have been able to circumvent sanctions to further their drone program and India's efforts have fallen short, the source said, India is a process-driven country and not goal-oriented. Iran had a goal and worked towards it. It is easier there because everything comes under the control of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Sources in the defense establishment accept that much of India's focus has been on the process itself, adding that the government has been trying to make the processes simpler. Building on the argument, sources cite the IDEX program, which seeks to cut through the maze of processes and fast-track development of niche technology and their easier absorption into the armed forces. However, industry sources say that the government's thrust on adding more projects to the IDEX initiative actually works against the concept. The idea is to focus on some core projects and ram it up through government funding and handholding. More projects mean that the pie gets divided into smaller units. The question is whether there should be quality or numbers, a source said. For ThePrint, this is Snehesh Alex Philip. Do subscribe to our Print's YouTube channel for more such videos.